Hey guys, it's me back with another unboxing video, this time under the influence, under the enjoyment of a White Russian. Cheers guys. Delicious. Right, so this got sent in by Corsair. I guess they were happy with my review of the K100 keyboard, and they sent me something completely different when I mentioned I'm interested in non-MX keyboards to review. So yeah, let's take a look. This box is a little bit beat up. It's very thin, and I don't think there's too much packing material in it. So it doesn't need quite as much slaughtering as a FedEx box usually does. Oh, there is some packing material in it. Look at that. Right. These air cushions. At least they are easy to deflate. Sometimes you get those bubble wrap mats and they're quite difficult to get rid of. Anyway, I'm babbling. Right, it is the K60 RGB Pro. Now, the interesting about this, let's get the plastic off. The interesting thing about this is obviously that it doesn't use Cherry MX switches. In fact, it uses Cherry Viola switches, which have been requested quite a few times now by people in the comments, and I'm quite interested to try them out myself. Right, let's see what's on the box, on the back. Sturdy anodized brushed aluminum frame. Well, that makes sense. Corsair always loves their brushed aluminium chassis. 100% Cherry Viola mechanical key switches, as in not 50% Cherry Viola. Again, that's fair enough. Dynamic per key RGB, blah 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 blah. Oh, powered by IQ software. It's even got immersive lighting effects with IQ integrated games. Right. Anyway, the box looks a little bit different from most Corsair boxes, but is otherwise relatively plain. So let's open this thing further. More drink. I love White Russians. I'm also not ashamed to admit I also love Baileys. This is kind of the same. Yeah, I know. I didn't give a shit. Right. So, that's the keyboard. Well, at least it's another full size. That is one thing that Corsair is pretty good at, doing full size keyboards. It's not like some other brands that really insist on the small form factors. What's this manual? I'll have a look at that in a bit. Last time, apparently, I missed a key puller, so I'm making sure that there's nothing else in the box, but it's definitely empty, as you can see. Right, let's get rid of that. And there's plastic. I mean, it feels really light. It feels like it's just plastic. Now, of course, aluminium is very light, but man. Of course, the K60, as you would suspect of such a low model number, is a bit more of a budget keyboard. And this is the whole point of the Cherry Viola switch as well. It's the replacement of their Cherry MY key switch. Now, for those in the know, Cherry MY are a cheaper alternative to Cherry MX, and they're fucking awful. Off the top of my head, I gave Cherry MY, I think it was the 4th spot on my worst ever key switch video list, so I hope they've improved on it. Right. Let's see what the manual tells us. Motherfuck it. Okay. Oh, it's another warranty guide and the safety information for a keyboard. What could that possibly be? Seriously. Anyway, I also noticed I'm recording the audio to this video on the wrong channel, so it'll sound a little bit different from normal, but oh well, doesn't matter too much, I guess. Blah blah blah. Setting up your keyboard, software mode, install IQ. Function shortcuts, not that interesting. Wow, there's virtually nothing in this manual. Okay, that's fine. I guess this doesn't have macro capability, which would make sense for a budget keyboard. No, it doesn't look like it. Blah blah blah. Well, it means there's even less reason to use IQ. Right, so the switches look, well, you can kind of see it's kind of a white plastic look. I'm guessing that the backlighting will transmit through the white plastic on this. You can see that on some other budget keyboards like the Razer or Nata that has something very similar. I suspect this will cause very heavy light bleed from under the keycaps, but anyway, we'll have a look at that. Also, it looks like low profile keycaps and the usual, yeah, laser bladed ABS. That's fine. And this is what the switches look like, by the way. So hopefully you can kind of see that like this. It'll probably not be in focus, but well, we'll see. I have to say, I do like the relatively simple look of this. The K100 that I reviewed recently, which was really not a bad board, had some weaknesses, but you know, it was a good board. That looked quite busy and ugly. This looks very simplistic, and I think in a way much better. I even kind of like the Corsair logo here. It doesn't say Corsair, it's just the logo. But see, I hope that catches the light a little bit. There you go. Honestly, I think it's not a bad look. Feather light though. Right. Let's see what happens when we plug it in. So I've unplugged one of my keyboards. Yeah, I know it's ready. And it looks interesting. The backlighting is quite different from what I expected it to be. And I'm going to demonstrate that by shutting off the light for a second. Yeah, looks like a quite different pattern from the K100s. Well, actually, maybe no. I think it might be. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just RGB. No, maybe it's similar. It's just it looks different. However, as you can probably see, there is quite a lot of light bleed here, partially from under the keycaps, like I mentioned. That's something you have to like. If you really like RGB heavy keyboards, then that might be okay, or perhaps even an advantage. If you don't want it too ostentatious, then white plastic sections like this are going to drive you up the wall. Anyway, I'm going to switch the light back on, and there was light. Right, let's see how it types. I'm just going to open an empty text file here. Now, they are linear switches. Wow, they make a bizarre sound. There's no way I'll be able to capture that with the microphone in this position, but I'll be sure to stress that during the review. By the way, this is obviously not a review. This is just the unboxing, just for those people who were expecting a review. Oh, so good. Interesting. It definitely feels different from Cherry MY. Wow, this makes an interesting sound. The clack sound is quite different with this. Okay. I'm gonna obviously test this a lot more before I really pass judgment on it, but it's an interesting first impression, I can tell you that. So one of the big differences with Cherry MY is that instead of a leaf spring acting on a set of membranes, Cherry MY keyboards were membrane keyboards. This doesn't use a membrane, it uses a PCB to close a contact, but it still uses a somewhat similar arrangement. I might do a switch teardown on this, actually, because it's an interesting design. Very budget oriented, it's very cheap to make, but you know, cheap doesn't necessarily mean bad, it can be quite good. The keyboard itself is very bare bones, I think, but again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It costs a third of the K100. So, well, anyway, there's loads to talk about here, I think, but a lot more I need to test with this. Anyway, I'm curious to see what you guys think about the looks. I honestly think it's not that bad. I think the K70 does still look a little bit better, but I do like this cluster here. That's a nice touch. In general, I think Corsair keyboards are not bad looking. So yeah, they have that going for them at least. Well, that's just my opinion, but yeah, quite interesting to really get my hands on this. I wonder if it's got N-key rollover. Actually, I'm going to test that real quick. I really want to know that now. What looks like it? Yeah, it looks like it's got N-key rollover. Interesting. Something else I have to check out. Well, anyway, I'm gonna end this video now. Interesting keyboard for sure. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you during the review of it, which I don't know when it's going to be. Probably somewhere in the new year, early new year. And yeah, see you guys then. Adios.